You ever start up the game and think you're about to kick everyone's ass? But in reality, this is what actually happens. Hey yo, what you doing? Please no! I'm only 7th floor. Take your ass back. Chill!
You done fucked up now.
Gotcha, bitch.
Well, we about to change that. So as you can tell by today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to improve at Guilty Gear Strive. I'm going to be giving you guys some tips and strategies on how to get better, and it's honestly how I've gotten better at the game myself. So hopefully you stick around and enjoy. But before we get into the video, I'm asking that you please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe as we're on the road to 1K subs. You do me a favor, I do you a favor, and that's just how it goes. Hopefully you stick around and enjoy the video, because I will be giving you guys some good ass tips, legit ass tips, and yeah. But enough of all that, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, let's get straight into it. Now, you have multiple best friends in this game, but the first best friend I'm gonna talk about is blocking. Blocking is so important, like in any fighting game, but especially this one. And I know it's tough to block because, you know, that big ass counter, that thing like makes you want to just punch and do things, but forget the counter even exists. Practice your blocking. That's the first thing you gotta do. Take this Zato match for example in the background that you see. Notice how I'm like blocking like hella good, right? Like he's trying to pressure me with Eddie, but he's really like, it's kind of tough for him because I'm just blocking everything. It's almost like boxing. Like, you know how Floyd Mayweather, they say you got the best defense or whatever, like he doesn't get touched. So you gotta be like that with, you know, Guilty Gear. All you gotta do is just block and watch what your opponent is doing. He's gonna have his habits, so he'll do repetitive things. Once you figure that out, you could counter that. So yeah. Now obviously with characters like Soul, it's kind of tough because he's always plus on block and stuff, so he can just throw out moves. But in that case, you still want to learn how to block even Soul, like, because Soul is pretty easy to deal with.
What did you say?
Pretty easy to deal with. Pretty easy to deal with. And because blocking allows you to analyze your opponent, it also allows for adaptation, which leads to my second point, is adaptation. That's your best friend as well. Now the easiest way to adapt to your opponent is strictly, you know, by studying him while you're in the match. Like, you gotta think, because fighting isn't just like you're just pressing buttons and mashing buttons. You gotta think while you fight. So if you're constantly getting pressured, you want to think of like what your opponent's doing. You don't want to just like mindlessly do things and just try to outbeat them in a move. So the best way to adapt is just by thinking about what your opponent's gonna do, what does he happen to do, you know, like as a habit, things like that. If he walks up and throws you, you gotta adjust yourself for that. You know, obviously throwing is pretty hard to read in this game because honestly, like, you could do so many mix-ups. It's so much to worry about, but just focus on your opponent's habits and you'll adapt to his playstyle. If he's playing hella aggressive, you know, like I said, practice your blocking. If he's playing a little bit passive or like he runs out of ideas for mix-ups, now you can take advantage and actually, you know, turn the tables. You just want to adapt to your opponent's playstyle, and honestly, doing that will get you far in Guilty Gear. Just adapt on the fly. That's all you gotta do. That's like the big tip. Adapt on the fly. Use that to your advantage. Just keep adapting, and you got this. I've played plenty of matchups where I had to adapt on the fly, like against Chip. Now I know how to go against Chip. I also know how to go against Angie. I played a lot of Angies. I played a lot of Chips as Giovanna, and now I really don't struggle against Chip because he has a command grab that, you know, makes him go invisible and like he grabs you. All you gotta do against that is just jump over it, or you could like hit him in time. So for Chip, I know how to, you know, counter his alpha blades and all that. So it's pretty easy. Angie likes to jump at you and grab you. When you're used to that, you know, you adapt to that, and most Angies will do that same thing. All you gotta do is just counter their grab, like things like that. It's pretty easy. So you just adapt and just play a lot, and you'll get used to each character. Do not be afraid to play any character you're going against. Like, don't leave because you see, oh, that's a hard character to go against, you don't want to deal with it. Learn it. It's gonna be easy, trust me. Now your next best friend is gonna be replays. Now replays, they're not super essential, but I had to put this in there because you need to learn to just, you know, review your fights, almost like anything else, like in basketball or sports, how they review their tape. It's the same way. You learn from your mistakes, you learn what you do. You're just telling yourself what and what not to do. It's almost like another way of adapting, but just through review. Like, you're just like focused on what to do and what not to do on certain situations. So it's almost like an extra time for you to adapt to things, I guess. So yeah, replays is essential. But you may have noticed something. Who the hell is Bay? Well, let me tell you. See Bay right there? The Giovanna? That's me. That's my alt account. Which leads to my next tip. Make an alt account. You guys ever play League of Legends?
Shit system! Shit system!
You know what I'm trying to say here. You know how many alt accounts it takes to just get to Challenger in League? It's kind of the same thing, but with, you know, fighting games. I actually made it to the Celestial floor, believe it or not, on this account. I have my main account, which is Sir Elijah, but this is my alt account. I just put a random name, just put Bay and Beta, Alpha, whatever lettering. But yeah, believe it or not, I play better on my alt than I do my main because I'm actually having fun on my alt. You know, I'm not try-harding. I'm try-harding, but I'm having fun doing it. I'm not, you know, I don't have a goal. I just play it just to play it. But it's just funny how this is the account that I made to Celestia with. My main account, I'm on floor 10, but I've been struggling in floor 10 on my main. But here, I've just been casually, you know, breezing by. So, yeah. I had lost. I got kicked out thanks to that guy right there. Shout out to you. But I'm gonna come back. But yeah, alt account is very essential. And if you play League or any other games that require ranks, you know what I'm talking about. Make an alt account. It actually allows your anxiety to like calm down. You don't gotta worry about anything. Just play with an alt, you know. And then when you feel like you're good enough, you can go back to your main and actually, you know, kick some ass. So yeah, that's a good pro tip in my opinion. Now I know I mentioned that you got multiple best friends, but I think this is gonna be truly your true best friend, and it's frame data, or data, however you say it. Frame data is very important in fighting games, in all fighting games. Me myself, I consider myself a casual player. I'm not like competitive, but I found, or I see how useful it is to study frame data. And you don't gotta study it too hard. Just like know what frame data is and like what your character does in terms of frames. Now, if you're a casual player, you might not really care about it, and you don't have to like worry about this one if you don't want to. You can skip this too. But if you really just want to improve at the game, study frame data with, you know, you don't gotta study all characters' frame data, but I recommend you study your character's frame data, like your main, and you study Soul bad guy's frame data, because that man is an asshole. But anyways, study frame data, and all you gotta do is just Google it. I think there's a website called Dust Loop Wiki. Check that out. It gives you all the frame data of each character. I don't know if there's any better website. I just use that one. I'm a casual, so yeah. But study your frame data, because when you hear players talk about, you know, this move is plus on block or minus on block, that's what the frame data is, you know. It's basically telling you like what move is safe to use in terms of the frames. And the frames really mean just the animation of the character. So whenever a character is like moving, he'll move in frames. That's how they animate their character. So the fastest move, let's say it's 2 frames. That means like a 5p is 2 frames, for example. So that'll be his fastest move. I guess Soul, his fastest move is probably his standing S or some shit. I don't know. And I know for Giovanna, her fastest move is her 2K, which is just a low kick, pretty much. So study frame data. It's pretty important, but if you're a casual, then it depends on how casual you are. If you don't care about that, then you don't gotta really worry about that. But if you want to get to the 10th floor and up, and B players and up, I recommend you study that. That's all I'm gonna say. 9th floor and below, I don't think it really matters. But yeah, now we are on to the last two best friends or tips that I got for you guys, and it both deals with practice mode. Now the first thing I gotta say is go to practice mode and practice. There's so many tools you can use in practice mode. For example, there's the, setting up the opponent's status so you can set up to block, block everything, or block after the first hit, or block after, I forgot, but you could do that. You could make the CPU, you could record the CPU and do what you gotta do and make it do something, and then, replay it. You could make the CPU do counterattacks after, recovery or after a hit, things like that. Like, practice mode is very essential. I stay on that thing a lot, at least for an hour, maybe 30 minutes, but I don't think I really chill for an hour in practice. But yeah, practice mode is essential. And the last thing I gotta tell you guys is, if you want to master your combos, I recommend you practice them either on live people or on CPUs. Now me, how I started learning combos in any game was I'd practice it in practice mode, obviously. Once I get the memorization down, now I'll actually play the CPU in practice mode maybe, or I'll just play like a regular match in versus, and I'll just try to hit my combo. I'll constantly do that till I get it down. So it could be like a situational thing. You want to put yourself in a situation. So that's how I learn combos. Pretty easy to do it that way, in my opinion. So yeah, practice your combos on live CPUs, or if possible, then practice it on an actual player. So I recommend CPUs though, because it's pretty easy. I also set the CPU on maniac mode, so just to make it harder for myself. So yeah. But after that, guys, I think that's gonna do it. I think I gave you all the tips and advice I could give. Hopefully that helped you out. Hopefully, I hope you enjoyed the video. I try to be entertaining, but it is what it is. But other than that, guys, I hope you please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna edit this video out, gotta drop it by Sunday probably. So yeah, thank y'all for tuning in though. I'll catch you on the next video. Deuces. I'm out.